Okay, so I'm finally fulfilling my promise. I'm reviewing every Captain America project. So I'm going to be reviewing everything Captain America. So that means Captain America the First Avenger, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Secret Invasion, and Captain America Brave New World. You might be wondering why I added Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I have two reasons for that. One, because it's a show about Sam Wilson accepting the fact that he's Captain America. Two, and there's nowhere else I actually review this show, so I'm just going to do it here. So without further ado, let's get into this. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel. It will be helping me out quite a bit. Captain America the First Avenger. This movie is the opening to the character of Captain America in the MCU. We got to see the character of Steve Rogers before the Super Soldier Serum. We saw what made him tick and what he values, and I have to say, Steve was a very cool guy. People ask if chivalry is dead, but he's the answer to that question. It's no, chivalry is not dead. The movie also showed that Steve can't talk to women, which, like, fair. Steve has his heart in the right place, but he doesn't have charisma. We also got to see his relationship with Bucky. Even though it was very short-lived, Bucky is a very cool guy and he works for the movie, and I can't complain. So I also felt something when he got kidnapped and when he was presumably dead for the rest of the movie. The villain of Red Skull was kinda promising, but the way he ended was just so underwhelming. Like, Cap didn't even get to face him, he just kinda teleported with the Tesseract, which was a very stupid third act in my opinion. That's not all the dumb shit in this movie. Peggy and Steve's relationship was one of the most messy relationships I've seen in the MCU. Sure, the MCU isn't the best when it comes to writing relationships, but damn, even for the MCU standards, this is bad. Like, it had so many soap opera elements that it was so distracting, especially when you take into consideration that this is supposed to be a war movie. So Peggy liked Steve even before the serum, and I guess Steve felt the same way. And sure, let's say he was too shy to ask her out, even though she could have asked him out since she was more of a man than him at that point. Okay, so Steve gets his powers and is powerful and evidently more confident, and he still doesn't ask her out. Okay, so someone makes a joke about Howard Stark fondling with Peggy, and Steve kinda gets upset. But like, why though? Why do you get upset? You didn't ask her out, she's not your property, bro. So Steve kinda gets depressed, and he goes to kiss another girl, and Peggy sees him. What a surprise in a normal soap opera element. So Steve kinda talks about how he thought she was fondling with Stark, but she explains that all they did was go get fondue. Literally. So now they kind of stay awkward till the climax of the movie before Peggy grows a pair and kisses him, and they promise to go to a dance, but Steve never returns.
You gonna be okay?
Yeah, I had a date.
You see, that wasn't well written, and it's kind of weird that a good chunk of Steve's character in the MCU depended on him going back in the later movies to get that dance. If you don't watch this movie, you might actually think the relationship was well written, but after you watch it, you realize that, yeah, this was actually kinda bad. That's not all the dumb shit in this movie though, not even close. Steve's sacrifice could have been written much better, but it was very stupid. So he crashes the plane for some reason, and he couldn't jump out of there before crashing it, before getting frozen in the ice. You see, on paper, the sacrifice would have made sense if this wasn't so forced, because like, yes, Captain America's character is a character to jump on top of a grenade to save the other people, but this felt more like suicide and him being hell-bent on doing this sacrifice, even though there was clearly another way. Okay, so now here are some other things I like about this movie. Number one, Howard Stark was chill. Number two, the extended supporting cast and the other people in the army, those guys are so memorable. Number three, the scientist dude that did the experiment with him, yeah, that guy was cool too. Yeah, that's about it for this movie. I don't really have any other thing to say about it. Okay, wait, there's one more thing. The way it ended was good, with Steve saying that he had a dance to catch, even though the relationship wasn't well written. So with that being said, I'm giving Captain America the First Avenger a 6.5 out of 10. Captain America the Winter Soldier, this movie did a good job at switching genres to still make Captain America cool and work in the modern day, because a good chunk of his lore in the comics is with the Avengers or with the war. So he had to use something more modern when it comes to his comic adaptation, and they needed to change the genre from a war movie to something else. So what did they pick, you might be asking? Well, they picked a political thriller. Now I have to say this is a good movie, but I have a love-hate relationship with it. Like, sure, it was nice seeing Cap take out Hydra and dissolve S.H.I.E.L.D., but it made Nick Fury seem like an idiot for having Hydra under his nose for so many years, and in retrospect also Stark and Peggy. Sure, we did get good chemistry from Steve and the supporting cast, but then they forced a Peggy Carter cameo that felt out of place, in my opinion. Because now, in Endgame, it was like, oh, he already had a relationship with her. But imagine she wasn't in this movie and he sacrificed himself, or he went back to the past to go and be with her in Endgame. It would have had more weight because he truly didn't get to see her again, and that was his only chance to go and get the life he wanted with her. I mean, her dying in Civil War actually made sense because, like, yeah, he has lost his actual chance of getting to see her. So her death there actually made sense, and him being teared up by it, yes, that makes sense. I like that part in Civil War. I won't complain about that. But we're not talking about Civil War here. We're talking about Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I also kind of forgot to mention that his relationship with Sharon Carter in this is, number one, very weird, and number two, very, very stupid in my opinion. Because, like, literally, she's her grand niece, Steve. Her grand niece. Come on, Steve. Come on. You know you can do better than that. The movie also feels like a lot is going on, but I'm going to assume that that's just how all political thriller movies are. This movie is quite good. For example, Nick Fury's grave had a Pulp Fiction reference, and I love Pulp Fiction if you know me. I actually love Nick Fury in this movie, and I have to say this was his best characterization in the MCU, and it's not even close. Like, yeah, get out of my screen, Secret Invasion. I'll get to you later. Bucky in this movie was cool, and I liked how Steve cared about him and tried his best to get him back to normal for a good runtime of this movie. This movie also gave us an introduction to Sam Wilson, and I have to say he's one of my favorite characters in the Captain America franchise because you can see how much he really tries to help Steve and always be there for him. When it comes to Bucky and Steve, it's always about Steve who tries to help him and get him back to normal. So I wondered why you guys were surprised why he gave the shield to Sam and not Bucky, because it happens in the comics, number one. In the movies, you can clearly see that Sam is more of a sidekick than Bucky, and Sam is more of someone who's actually aspiring to be Captain America, someone who's actually more of a chivalrous good guy compared to Bucky. Lastly, I also like Natasha in this movie. She's cool and more than just a femme fatale, and I love her friendship with Steve in this movie. You can tell that Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson had a fun time filming this movie. Okay, that's about it. The movie had an alright climax with Bucky saving Cap and S.H.I.E.L.D. being dissolved, sadly. So with all that being said, I'm going to give Captain America: The Winter Soldier a 7.5 out of 10, but I'm still deducting half a point because they dissolved S.H.I.E.L.D. So 7 out of 10. Captain America: Civil War. Honestly, I love this movie. I think this is one of my most rewatched MCU movies, and for good reason. It really has the sauce. But it's also the type of movie where I couldn't help but notice that it had some wasted potential. Then again, hindsight is 2020, so they say. What do I mean by that? I honestly feel like this should have been a low-stakes Avengers crossover movie that happened around right now in the MCU before Doomsday. Because at this point, all the Avengers did was try to save the world, and they only had one incident where it was a problem that they caused. And there were so little heroes in the MCU at the time that, at least compared to now, they were so small. The comics, Civil War was a grand crossover because of the Registration Act, and in the comics it was warranted because over a multi-decade history, there were multiple mishaps caused by the heroes compared to one slip-up that I can swear the government didn't even know. It's more annoying because the movie didn't have a lasting impact except for making Kevin Feige scared about making the Avengers an actual thing in the universe. Ross became president and turned into Red Hulk, while also telling Sam Wilson to reform the Avengers, and Daredevil mentioned in She-Hulk that the Sokovia Accords were repealed, basically meaning it doesn't exist again.
May I remind you that the Sokovia Accords have been repealed.
At the end of the day, the movie didn't really have a lasting impact 10 years later in the MCU. But just imagine the Civil War taking place now with Valentina Allegra de Fontaine wanting more power and trying to coerce all the available heroes to join her or become an outlaw. You see Val's team of characters she could easily control and blackmail, like the current Thunderbolts, War Machine, Ironheart, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Ant-Man, and Wilson Fisk against a team of moral characters like Sam Wilson, Falcon, the new guy Torres, Spider-Man, Nick Fury, Captain Marvel, Daredevil, Kate Bishop, Bullseye, Wasp, Cassie Lang, and Echo. Then wildcards in the whole mix like Bruce Banner, Wong, and the Punisher. Now, wouldn't that be cool? Because there's more of an incentive for it with Val being an actual evil person compared to Ross, and there's more events that have taken place that can cause this paranoia to feel justified, like No Way Home, Secret Invasion, Eternals, Far From Home, and others that are skipping my mind right now. Yeah, let that sink in before I actually review the actual Civil War. Okay, now I've gotten that out of my chest and I can breathe. So let's talk about Civil War. And I'll be honest, this is a very tight movie, but I think the only thing I don't like about it is the climax. Get to that later. So firstly, I need to state that this is an Avengers movie and I don't care what you say because the team at the beginning of this movie were the established Avengers after Bruce and Thor left in Age of Ultron. It was the last time we see these guys as a team that didn't only come together for the sake of a problem greater than them. And from what I've been hearing, it seems like Kevin Feige wants to keep it that way. Honestly, the crossovers don't even need to be called Avengers movies, just call them something like Marvel Studio Presents Doomsday and show our heavy hitters in the cover and it will still sell. And then you reduce the stakes for Avengers movies so that they can feel more character driven and intimate. But okay, I seem to be steering away. I like Wanda being the catalyst for the whole Accords because she was an easy target and like fair. And I like how, in all honesty, there wasn't really a right or wrong for the Accords because even though I think it was premature, the government still had the right to be scared of these people operating unsanctioned like that. Honestly, the best middle points they could have reached was collaborating with the Avengers rather than outright total control over the Avengers, like how Superman operates in the comics. Well, unless Lex Luthor is the president. Comic reference for you comic readers there. But still, I don't believe any of the people were mischaracterized and all of them had very valid reasons for being on each side. Rhodey being a high-ranking government official, Tony literally creating Ultron, T'Challa literally joining just to get to Bucky. Then again, some characters were just there for being there, like Spider-Man and Ant-Man. Like literally, if Tony got to Lang first, he would have joined Tony's team. There was no ideological reasoning between Spider-Man and Ant-Man being in that fight. Honestly, Black Panther was so cool in this movie, and a real standout for this movie. Bucky, for the most part, just existed in this film, and I was trying to chill while Steve was like hell-bent on helping this guy. The problem I have with this film that I even stated before is that it's not really a Captain America film, it's an Avengers film, because Steve barely has more screen time than Tony in this. And in the Avengers movie, Steve and Tony actually have equal screen time more or less. And Steve didn't really have a character arc in this, which isn't inherently bad, but still the movie kind of made him feel like he was too right in every situation and made every character on the other side seem like the evil, ideological villain. In the first movie, Steve learns that when you have a lot of power, there comes a time when you have to lay down your life for what's right. In the second movie, he was a man out of time trying to adapt to the modern world, and you notice that while he was gone, some parts of the world actually got more corrupt in a way that wasn't good. Here's the thing, Captain America is a near perfect character, so actual character arcs are hard, but at least the other movies tried to throw him a bone with something. Here only T'Challa gets a character arc about vengeance, and how it only makes you more destructive and never gives you actual peace. And this isn't even T'Challa's movie, but all across the board, the movie had a very solid villain in Zemo, very good action pieces, clashing ideologies, hype moments, and a well done climax. Oh wait, that last part isn't true, like I said before. Let me explain. While I like the fact that Zemo actually kind of succeeded, what I don't like was Cap and Bucky teaming up on Tony trying to more or less kill the guy. Even though Tony had all the right to at least be angry the way he was. I know Steve isn't like Superman who is a bit more diplomatic, but still, Tony isn't some Hydra soldier or Serpent Society member, he's your teammate. You guys have tried to save the world multiple times, so why act so impatient with him, especially when you refuse to be the honest man with him before? Like sure, you shouldn't have let yourself die or let Bucky die, but damn, you didn't have to try to kill him. So yeah, that really pissed me off. Okay, so I think I've said everything I want to say about this trilogy and this movie. So I'm going to be giving Captain America Civil War an 8.5 out of 10. So I'm putting this in the greatest trilogy tier list, shout out Cosmonauts Variety Hour, and I'm keeping it in the alright tier because it's alright. So let me get to the remaining part of the Captain America backlog in the MCU. FALCON and the Winter Soldier. This show is not perfect, but it's solid. I don't want to talk too long about it because there's not much I really want to say about it and it's alright. So I like the character work of Sam and Bucky, I like their dynamic too as characters. I like Zemo being there and I like the fact that he's actually kind of cool in this. I like the fact that him and Bucky actually squashed their beef and both of them could see eye to eye. Sharon is also a nice addition except from the fact that she became evil at the ending and I kept on wondering what the hell is going on with her. John Walker was a nice foil, at least. He's a better antagonist than what we actually got and I like how he just devolved into something more and more corrupt and how he was manipulated by Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Like I said earlier, that woman is evil and I can't wait for her downfall in the MCU. Now, what I don't like in this show, the villain, I can't even remember her name. She's a waste of time. She really holds this show back because outside the character writing, this show has actual good visuals that's actually on par with the visuals of an MCU movie. So yeah, terrible villain that really holds this show back. So with all that being said, I'm going to be giving Falcon and the Winter Soldier a 6 out of 10. Now, let me review Secret Invasion so I can get that one out of my chest. Continue, this is just a gentle reminder to subscribe, especially if you're enjoying the video, because more videos like this are going to be coming every week. Secret Invasion. This shit sucks and it hurts me. We finally get Nick Fury in the lead and you give him the most boring and stupid plot I've ever seen. We're supposed to be paranoid in this show, but there's no actual twist or any surprise in this show. One Skrull that's close to Nick Fury dies and I can't even remember his name. That's to show you how badly the character except for Nick Fury is written. Maria Hill's death in the movie actually made the plot move forward. I guess that's something I can give the show. But honestly, was her death really needed? For someone who was barely characterized in the MCU, you really think her dying is really going to hurt me? The only thing that hurts me was the fact that we couldn't get more of her and we couldn't get actual characterization with her. Especially when, with the way the show was set up, you think that she was actually going to get something. You actually think Kevin Feige was going to throw her a bone, but nothing. She just died so unceremoniously, which is like so sad. Gravik is a stupid villain. Very stupid villain. I think that's all I'm even going to say about him, because saying more about him would be a disservice to me, because like honestly he's so bad. It has a stupid climax that it really hurts my eyes. Like that girl, I can't even remember her name, got all the powers of the Avengers or some shit like that and defeated Gravik. Hooray! No, she wasn't a main character in this. She was barely a side character. And yeah, she got the highest stake in the climax and not Nick Fury. That's good writing right there. And also, James Rhodes was a Skrull, apparently. Man, this show just sucks. Well, how is Rhodey a Skrull? Oh my god, thinking about this is going to hurt my brain. Let me just continue. Now, for what I can say I like about this show, Samuel L. Jackson, at the very least, tried for this show with such terrible plots that he was given. And I guess his relationship with his wife was the only thing really done well, or let me rephrase it, was the only thing that really interested me in this show. So yeah, Secret Invasion is a 2 out of 10, and this is probably going to be the lowest score I'll ever give a movie in the MCU. Next one, please. Captain America: Brave New World. I reviewed this before on my video about the MCU in 2025. I probably put it on the screen somewhere, or you can click it to find it somewhere. It's not terrible, but it's not exceptional. I'm not going to talk in detail because I already reviewed it before. But let me just say it could have been a better movie if not for the fact that the people behind it didn't really know what they wanted. So yeah, it's still a 6 out of 10. Yeah. Okay, that's it. If you like this video, please subscribe and also click the like button. This is going to be a longer video than usual and I hope you enjoyed it. My next video might be on Jordan Peele because I just finished watching Us yesterday, or the X-Men. So if you're excited, just subscribe for that and I'll see you next week.